There is a village in the heart of Snowdonia that people have been calling one of the most beautiful places in Wales for centuries. It sits at the point where two rivers meet, the Glaslyn and the Colwyn, and the mountains of Eryri rise up around it on every side. It has a stone bridge over clear mountain water, cottages that have been here since before anyone alive can remember, a pub that's been serving people since the 1600s, and it has a grave. The grave of a dog named Gelert. And the story of how Gelert came to be buried here is one of the saddest, most human stories I've come across in any place I've ever visited. This is Beddgelert, and I want to take you there. Getting to Beddgelert is part of the experience. You drive through Snowdonia to reach it, and the landscape does things to you before you've even arrived. Mountains on both sides, the road winding through a valley that feels older than any road has the right to feel. Just keep expecting it to open up into something normal, and it doesn't. It just keeps being extraordinary. And then the village appears, and it's exactly as small and exactly as beautiful as you'd hoped it would be. Beddgelert has been settled since around the 8th century. The name itself tells you something. In Welsh, it means the grave of Gelert. The whole village is named after a dog, and the story of that dog, the legend that gave this place its name, has been drawing people here for over 200 years. We'll get to that, but first, the village. It's small, genuinely small. You can walk from one end to the other in 10 minutes. There are cafes and a handful of shops and a pub that has been here since 1625. The kind of place where the buildings are part of the landscape rather than sitting in front of it. And everywhere you look, in every direction, there are mountains.
I don't know if I can find my way out. I'm stuck in a prison of doubt. In this toy shell, and everything is growing up tight. There's no room to breathe, and nobody is watching at night. I wanna rise up. Need a friend to shake me out again. Need a friend to shake me out again.
The walk to Gelert's grave is about 10 minutes from the village. You follow a path along the River Glaslyn, through fields where sheep graze with the mountains behind them. And eventually you reach a quiet spot under two trees with a large cairn stone. Beside the stone there are two plaques, one written in Welsh, one in English. They tell the legend of Gelert, the faithful hound. I want to tell you the story properly, because it deserves to be told properly. In the 13th century, Llywelyn the Great, Prince of Gwynedd, one of the most powerful Welsh rulers of his time, had a palace in this valley. He kept a pack of hunting hounds, and the greatest of them was Gelert, loyal beyond all the others, brave, Llywelyn's favourite. One day, Llywelyn went hunting and left Gelert behind to guard his infant son asleep in his cradle. When Llywelyn returned, Gelert ran to greet him, but the dog's mouth was covered in blood. Llywelyn ran to his son's cradle. It was overturned, empty, blood everywhere. And he drew the conclusion that any father would draw in that moment. He believed Gelert had killed his son. In his grief and his rage, he drew his sword and killed the dog. And as Gelert died, as the dog cried out, Llywelyn heard another sound, a child crying. He searched the room and found his son, alive, unharmed, and beneath the upturned cradle, the body of an enormous wolf that Gelert had fought and killed to protect the boy. Llywelyn never smiled again for the rest of his life. That's how the legend ends. He buried Gelert here, at this spot by the river, and named the place after him, Beddgelert. Story about a mistake you can't take back, about acting on incomplete information, about the cost of assumptions made in grief and anger. Standing at the grave, reading those plaques, the river behind you and the mountains above you, it lands. One of the hardest life lessons. Something I want to say about Beddgelert that you don't get from a list of things to do. There's a particular quality to being somewhere that has been beautiful for a very long time, where the landscape hasn't been altered or managed into something convenient, where the mountains are just there because they've always been there, and they'll be there long after everyone alive right now is gone. Beddgelert has that quality. You sit by the river and the water sounds the same as it sounded 1,000 years ago. The mountains don't change, the valley doesn't change, and you feel it, that smallness, but in a good way, in the way that reminds you that things are bigger and older than your immediate concerns. I sat by the river for a long time. I didn't need to be doing anything. The river was enough. Beyond the grave and the river, a few things worth knowing about if you're planning a day here. The Welsh Highland Railway stops at Beddgelert. It runs from Carnarvon in the north all the way to Porthmadog in the south, winding through some of the most spectacular scenery in Wales. You don't have to do the whole route. Even a single station up or down gives you the views you cannot get any other way. The train stops right in the village, and the sound of the whistle echoing off the mountain is something you don't forget. Food, because you will need it. A day in Beddgelert involves walking, and the mountains make you hungry. Glaslyn Ices is the village's famous ice cream shop, right by the river, legendary locally. And they do far more than ice cream, worth stopping for. Cafe Colwyn is a good option for lunch, right on the riverbank. Unpretentious, the kind of place where the view from the table does a lot of the work. And the Royal Goat Hotel, built in 1802 right in the village centre, is the pub that is allegedly responsible for inventing the legend of Gelert to attract tourists, which means you can have a drink in the place where one of Wales's most enduring stories was probably made up. There's something I find quite charming about that. Come early so you can have enough time to explore Beddgelert, the little village, the shops, the river, Gelert's grave, Aberglaslyn Pass, the Welsh Highland Railway, the Seagun copper mine, and Dinas Emrys. I came to Beddgelert for a day, and I left thinking about the way you think about places that got to you. Not because it has the most spectacular single attraction or the most dramatic landscape, but because it has everything in the right proportion. The village is beautiful. The story is extraordinary. The walk through the pass is unlike anything else if you get a chance to visit. The mountains make you feel the right size. There's something about a place that has been beautiful for this long, that has been carrying this story for this long, that gives it a weight that newer places don't have. You feel the depth of it. You feel all the people who walked these paths before you. Beddgelert. Go! Still, on the messy middle, remember to subscribe for this and more, and I'll see you next week.